Konami is clearly committed to the future of the Metal Gear Solid franchise, and recent developments prove that this legendary series is far from over. With new remakes, upcoming content, and long-awaited collections in development, the future of Metal Gear has never looked more promising. Konami recently released Metal Gear Solid Delta Snake Eater, a full remake of one of the most beloved games in the franchise. This remake not only modernizes the visuals and gameplay, but also stays faithful to the original experience that fans love. Because of this successful launch, it's now clear that Konami plans to continue remaking more Metal Gear Solid titles in the future. So today, let's break down everything that's coming next for the Metal Gear franchise, remakes, DLC, collections, and even the possibility of a brand new game. First, let's talk about new content coming to Metal Gear Solid Delta Snake Eater. Konami is reportedly working on a DLC mode called Fox Hunt. This mode is designed around a cat and mouse style multiplayer experience similar to a tactical hide and seek concept. The mode is expected to support up to 12 players, all set within dense jungle environments. What makes Fox Hunt interesting is that it fully utilizes the tactical mechanics introduced in the Delta remake. Players will rely on stealth camouflage, that environmental awareness, and classic Metal Gear gameplay systems rather than fast-paced shooting. This fits perfectly with the franchise's identity, focusing on strategy over raw action. If done right, Fox Hunt could become a standout multiplayer experience, something Metal Gear fans have been asking for ever since Metal Gear Online was discontinued. Another major update is that Metal Gear Solid Delta Snake Eater is coming to the Nintendo Switch 2. According to reports, Konami is working on a properly optimized version of the game, ensuring that the Switch 2 hardware can handle it smoothly. This is great news for Nintendo fans who missed out on Metal Gear titles in the past. If the optimization is done well, this could introduce the Metal Gear franchise to a completely new audience and significantly expand its fan base. Now let's move on to one of the most anticipated projects, Metal Gear Solid Master Collection Volume 2. During the Tokyo Game Show, Japanese gaming outlet VGC reported that Metal Gear Solid producer Noriaki Okamura confirmed that development on Master Collection Vol. 2 is still ongoing, and that it will be worth the wait. Okamura stated that since Konami labeled the first release as Volume 1, it was only natural for fans to expect a second collection. He emphasized that while development has taken time, that the team is committed to doing it properly rather than rushing it out. According to him, the team has been focused on delivering Metal Gear Solid Delta Snake Eater at a high quality, and once the timing is right, Konami plans to share more details about both the progress and direction of Master Collection Vol 2. Let's talk about the game everyone wants to see return, Metal Gear Solid 4A Guns of the Patriots. Currently, Metal Gear Solid 4 is only playable on the PlayStation 3, which makes it inaccessible for most modern players. Bringing it to newer platforms and including it in Master Collection Volume 2 would be a massive win for fans. Metal Gear Solid 4 is a crucial part of the franchise's story, wrapping up Solid Snake's journey. Its absence from modern platforms has been a major complaint for years, and this collection could finally solve that problem. If Konami manages to port or remaster MGS 4 successfully, Master Collection Vol 2 could easily become one of the most important releases in the franchise's history. Konami has made it clear that they want to revive the Metal Gear franchise in a meaningful way. While remakes are the first step, it's very likely that we'll eventually see a brand new Metal Gear game. If that happens, Metal Gear Solid 6 could take inspiration from Metal Gear Solid V's open world design, refining and expanding it even further. With modern hardware and better storytelling tools, Konami has the opportunity to deliver a truly next generation Metal Gear experience. An open world Metal Gear Solid 6, combined with classic stealth gameplay and strong narrative focus, could bring the franchise back to the top of the gaming industry. 2020, reports surfaced suggesting that Konami was quietly working on a Metal Gear Solid 1 remake behind the scenes, allegedly putting significant resources into early planning. At the time, these rumors created a lot of excitement, especially since Metal Gear Solid is one of the most iconic games ever made. However, according to Konami themselves, remaking the first Metal Gear Solid is a far more complicated task than remaking Snake Eater. In October 2026, Konami producer Noriaki Okamura addressed the future of Metal Gear remakes. While he didn't completely shut down the possibility of more remakes, he made one thing very clear: they won't be happening anytime soon. Okamura explained that remaking Metal Gear Solid 1, alongside the original Metal Gear, and Metal Gear 2 titles that released on the MSX2 and Nintendo Entertainment System would require the creation of a huge number of brand new gameplay systems, mechanics, and design elements. This stands in stark contrast to Metal Gear Solid 3. Snake Eater already had a strong foundation that could be enhanced using modern technology, its third-person camera level design, and core gameplay systems translated relatively well into a modern remake. That's why Metal Gear Solid Delta Snake Eater is widely described as a one-to-one remake with very little deviation from the original. In fact, some critics have even argued that Delta feels closer to a high-end Unreal Engine remaster rather than a full remake. IGN famously described it in that way, although let's be honest, their opinions aren't always universally agreed upon. After all, they once gave Black Myth Wukong a 3 out of 10, or so take that however you like. Jokes aside, the key issue here is complexity. The original Metal Gear Solid was a PlayStation 1 title. It used fixed camera angles tank controls, and level design that was heavily constrained by the hardware of its time. Those design choices were revolutionary in 1998, but they don't translate easily to modern gaming standards. Snake Eater, on the other hand, was already far more advanced. Its mechanics, environments, and camera systems were built for the PlayStation 2 era, making it much easier to modernize without completely reinventing the game. To remake Metal Gear Solid 1 properly, Konami wouldn't just be upgrading visuals. They would need to rebuild the game almost entirely from scratch. Camera systems would need to be redesigned, controls modernized, levels restructured, and entire gameplay mechanics rethought to meet today's expectations. That's a monumental task. The technical leap from PS1 era game design to modern standards is far more dramatic than updating a PS2 era title. And that's exactly why Konami sees Metal Gear Solid 1 as a much more difficult project than Snake Eater. This also explains why Konami chose Metal Gear Solid 3 as the starting point for the franchise's revival. It's safer, more achievable, and less risky, especially for a company re-entering AA development after years away from major console releases. So, what does this mean for the future? Right now, it seems clear that Konami is taking things slowly and cautiously. Metal Gear Solid Delta Snake Eater is a test, a way to gauge fan reaction, rebuild trust, and prove that the franchise can still succeed without Hideo Kojima. If Delta performs well both critically and commercially, bet the chances of further remakes, including Metal Gear Solid 1, increase significantly. But make no mistake, if that remake ever happens, it will likely be a full reimagining, not a simple one-to-one recreation. For now though, patience is key. Let me know what you think. Would you want a faithful remake of Metal Gear Solid 1, or a complete reimagining for modern audiences? And if you enjoyed this video, don't forget to subscribe for more news and updates. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.